in the intro.
What's good, Facebook, YouTube? How y'all feeling?
So we up here. We've been off for a couple weeks, but you got your 2/3 of the truth and logic. Trying to see what's up with shells. Unfortunately, the place that we work at be trying to mandate. Well, 2/3 of us work at be trying to mandate the shit out of us. I had to get that shit right. um, but we gonna try to get to you all when we can. Unfortunately, with the COVID going around, that place like to keep us. So sometimes things just can't get the flowing the way we want. But we're gonna try to get to you all because I know, people be looking for us, and so don't take it personal.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for everybody that reached out to me. For those of you who don't know, COVID tapped your boy on the shoulder, and it's been fucking with me. But I'm good. I'm back. I'm not 100%, but I mean, what up, Sam? If I had to do this show by myself, I couldn't do it. But that's what I got partners for. So what's happening? Appreciate y'all. And like I said, for those of you all who reached out to me, I appreciate it. For those of y'all who didn't know, yeah, COVID got your boy. So
Yeah, I mean, I've been blessed. As far as I know, I haven't had it. But we do know that it touched Michelle on the shoulder at one point.
I will say this: if you're asymptomatic, you are truly blessed, because I was going back and forth. I didn't know if I had it. I thought I had it, whatever. And when that shit hit me, that shit hit me. I mean, and it took me, like, at its worst, it took me on the roller coasters. Like, I'd be feeling better, then I'm not feeling better, then my fever would come back, it would leave, it would come back harder. I mean, at one point I was sweating so bad in my sleep that I had to get up and change clothes and shit. It was just crazy, man.
And you know what's crazy about it? Because oh shit,
I was sweating so bad.
Damn, hold on.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry about that.
Man, look, I thought I put everything on silent, whatever. Right. But no, what's so crazy about that? Because a couple weeks ago, I was out real bad, and I thought I had it because that's when you and your mother was getting on me, and I tested negative, but like some of the symptoms you saying I was sweating real bad. Sometimes I'd be hot as hell, then sometimes I'd be cold. I had a fever I couldn't break. That Saturday, I mean, I was in the bathroom all day. It was killing me, and I surely thought I had it. And when they called me that Monday, the people was telling me, because you got to listen. I had to listen to this long recording. So I'm like, damn, man, would y'all just tell me that I got it? I know I got it. Then when they get on, they got to read this long speech. And then when she was like, you don't have it, I'm like, shit. So I must have had the flu. So, I guess.
I mean, it started out like a bad cold or flu. That's how it started off. But then the shit just got worse.
Yeah. So I'm here to tell you, if you feel like you got the flu or whatever, don't take any chances. Just going to get tested. And I know it's scary because we hearing all the bad stuff about COVID, but Um, if you could look at one silver lining of this, I guess you've had way more people recover than to succumb to this.
Well, I
So
look at it like this, man. For as bad as I was feeling, and even now, I'm like I'm lethargic. And I have instances of brain fog. But as bad as I felt, I'm here.
yeah,
It's a lot of people that's not here. So that's why I put up that post. I was like, man, all these people dying of COVID, and I'm here. So
right.
I'm just grateful. You know?
Hey, that's the most important thing. You still here, and you can tell your story.
Right.
Um, so I wanted to bring this up. Hey Mo, how you doing, baby?
What's up, Mo?
Um, so in my public relations class this week, we talking about diversity. And one of the things that they was talking about was the LGBTQ community, and as far as um, when you do a public relations, how can you include them? So one lady was saying, well, if she was like, they need to have more stuff for the LGBT community, and she was saying how Subaru has a gay car and
A
other.
gay car.
Yeah, that's what she was saying, and I'm like, what the hell is a gay car? And I put up there, I'm like, well, I think some of this stuff we getting kind of out of hand with doing. There's nothing wrong with adding different communities into your to show them, to reach out to them and have them involved. But to sit up here and to just say like a car, if you marketing a car and you saying this is for the LGBTQ, you Xing out everybody else. Or I guess
So if I buy this car, I'm be considered gay.
I don't know. That's the thing. And one lady went off. She said, "You sound like you offended. That the gay community has been left out a lot of stuff. They make a lot of things for straight people. They don't make anything for gay. They don't make a lot of stuff for gay people." And I'm like, "Well, how do you make a gay car?"
Well, first of all, like what? Give me. Could did she give an example of what they make for straight people that they don't make for gay people?
I don't know, because regular clothes gay people can wear.
I mean, it don't matter. It's like I like Hennessy privilege. If you gay, guess what? You can drink it.
You can drink it, right?
I smoke cigars. Guess what? If you gay, you can smoke.
I got coffee right here, and they're not saying this coffee is just for straight people or just for gay people. And I'm like, how do you get that out of what I said? I'm not saying you got to exclude them. If you want to have a gay person help marketing your stuff so you can have them included, then there's nothing wrong with that. But to come out here and say, okay, this is strictly for gays, to me, that's crazy.
See, here's my only problem with that. They can bring up this conversation, and if you say anything against it, it becomes an immediate problem.
Exactly.
However, if I say something about, well, what are we doing for inclusion of black people? Well, why does it just have to be black people? Or why are you being so militant? Or why are you this, that, and other? So everybody can bring up inclusion except us. And it's not, if we bring it up, it's a problem. Anybody else brings it up, we need to just sit back, listen to it, and accept it. That's a bunch of that's hypocritical. That's two-faced, and that's bullshit. I don't understand. See, what the fuck is a gay car?
I have no idea. Matter of fact, I'm about to look it up. I mean, but what's crazy is because you remember the University of Hawaii, they was called the Hawaii Rainbows, but now they had to switch their name because
the LGBTQ community took over the rainbow.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is crazy. Why is saying I can't save this shit? See, the county is getting irritating.
Hey man.
No, because I put in my overtime.
my heart goes out to y'all, but that don't concern me.
All right, I'm going to look at that later. So let me see. Subaru. Because I'm kind of curious because they brought this up and then to sit up here and say I sound like I'm upset. How do I sound like I'm upset? All I did was just give an opinion.
I mean, first of all, it sounds stupid, and just because I say it sounds stupid to me, don't mean that I'm, homophobic. I mean, everything like Sam just said, everything doesn't have to be inclusive based on sexual preference.
Exactly.
I mean, here's the reality. If we have a problem discussing inequalities and injustices and exclusions of black people, then we should have a problem talking about all that, but as it pertains to everybody, whether it's your race, your sexual orientation, whatever. So I'm not trying to hear none of that shit. You can call me militant, you can call me whatever you want to call me. I don't give a fuck. Check this out here. I'm born black. There's no mistaking that I'm black. If you choose to not come out as being gay, no one will know anything. I can't choose not to be black. I can't say, well, I want to identify as white. No, nigga, you're black.
Exactly.
So I don't care about what they talking about because the struggle is not the same, although they try to make it the same.
And this is why I don't like having a lot of conversations or talk about certain topics with certain people because you can't have, like you said, if we if you say something about the gay community and I disagree, then all of a sudden I got to be a homophobe.
Right.
I know I just don't agree with that. Like
Right.
my oldest daughter, she's gay, but I tell her all the time.
And I'm pretty sure you love your daughter.
And I look, don't try to use you being gay to try to get over. Let your brain, let your actions be what get you over, get you by.
Right.
You know, it's too many people that try to use, well, I'm this, I'm that, so I should get a
And
fair.
and I don't agree with that. I was born gay shit. I don't agree with that because anybody that's gay that I know that I've heard say that the minute I ask them if they believe in God, they say yes. Then your argument has just been lost. Because if you believe in God, then you believe He's perfect, He's all knowing, He doesn't make mistakes. So basically, by you being gay, you're saying He made a mistake when He made you.
Exactly. I told one transsexual that because this transsexual told me that God don't. Well, he used to always say God don't make any mistakes. I said, well, you can't say that, and he was like, why you say that? I said, well, you definitely were born a male, and you doing all this stuff to turn yourself into a female.
So you're saying
Yep.
God made a mistake.
I made a mistake and made you the wrong sex, and
Right.
he got mad. But hold on, why can't we have this conversation?
Right.
See, we can have a lot of conversations out there, but like I said, the taboo things that you can't talk about. You can't talk about the gays. You can't talk about Jews, and you can't talk about women because then all of a sudden you get this stigma put on you. Well, why?
Well, here's the thing though. With women, I think you can't talk about women. Well, no, you can talk about women. You can't talk about black women.
Well, yeah,
And I get it, but here's the reality of it. I mean, black women, I probably the most disrespected group and unprotected. I give them that. However, if you're able to listen to what I'm saying, and what I'm saying is not it's not vitriolic, it's not filled with vitriol, and it's filled with facts. And what I'm giving you basically constructive criticism
mm-hmm.
that will be taken offense. And it's like, nah, why are you mad about me speaking the truth? Because here's the reality: if you spit truth at me about me, I gotta take that.
Yeah,
I gotta take that, long as you're not coming at me sideways. But I mean, you can't say anything about a black woman and Now, black women can say something about black men, and but you know that's kind of a cultural thing, right? Because like black people talk about black people, and it used to be that nobody could say shit about a black person other than another black person.
Right.
It has evolved to where we kind of like gauge it as to how cool we are with the white person or with the Mexican or with on how we let them. No, you still can't. That's still not for you. See, this is family business. The way I look at it, when black people talking, when black people talking, this is family business.
Right.
I'm gonna need you to mind your motherfucking business.
Well, like
When we talk,
this guy, he went to live a long time ago, so he was talking about. I told him I don't agree with white people telling black people pretty much taking black people car, and he said, "What's the lady that told 50 Cent she had to remind him that he was black?"
I don't remember that.
The white lady he was dating. I can't. She looked like
Oh,
old.
I remember. I remember that. I remember.
And then you got when Joe Biden said it, and I'm like, I have a problem with that. See, like you said before, what they saying might be true, but they the ones that they can't say it.
Right. You can't say.
Because now what's stopping any white? Because if we allow white people to say that, what's stopping white people 5 years from now? You say something, oh well, you must not be black.
It's just a new level of comfort. Look, you can say that shit in private all you want, but you better not never say that shit out your mouth publicly because
And
there's an automatic problem. But here's what I know. Joe Biden was checked on that, right? There's an AKA I know whose brother is a Kappa who worked closely in the Biden campaign with Joe Biden. And there's a brother that's an alpha that worked in him. And they both took him to the side, was like, hey, look, Joe, we don't need to keep having these conversations with you. You know what I'm saying? Right. So they let him know, like, yo, this shit ain't cool and it ain't looking good. So don't do this shit no more.
Right. Because the lady with 50 Cent's ex-girlfriend, I'm gonna tell you there's a couple things in that interview that pissed me off. One, when she said Chesley Handler, that's her name.
Yeah, Chelsea. Yeah.
When she said
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know 50 dated her to that interview thing.
I didn't either. But this is how the black man get looked at as less than. She said, well, if 50 Cent changes his mind and decide to go with Joe Biden, I will give him some. So you telling me that the black man can't think for himself? Or if a black man think for himself, all you gotta do is offer him some pussy, and then next thing you know, he gonna change everything. Are you trying to say black men are that weak minded?
That's the implication. Yeah.
I'm because shit, you look like an old shoe.
I mean, because here's the reality of it, right? So, I mean, we talked about Ice Cube, and I made it very clear I'm not about cancel culture,
right,
or what have you. Ice Cube did what he did. I think number one, I think he came from a place of he wants to help. I'm not mad about that. I think that he, number one, allowed himself to be played by the Trump organization. And he proved that he did not understand completely. Like, number one, there were already black organizations putting in that work for a black contract. You had the Black Caucus, you had the Black Pact, and even Joe Biden's Lift Every Voice pact with the black community. The fact that Ice Cube did that proved to me that he didn't read none of that. He didn't read none of that. And so my thing is this: if you want to meet with Trump, that's fine. Trump has already shown you what playbook he uses. So if you're going to meet with Trump, you need to control that narrative. You need to control the narrative and say, look, I presented it to the Democrats. I presented it to the Republicans. The Democrats said they'll talk with me after the election. Trump said he'll talk with me now. I'm gonna go talk to him. I'll get back with y'all and let you know how to meet with. That's how he should have controlled the narrative. instead of secretly meeting with these motherfuckers and then having them blast him on Twitter, talking about, oh, thanks for the, because now it looks bad. That's a bad narrative.
That part, yes, I agree. That looked bad. And I just think he was stepping in the waters. I understand what you're trying to do, but you're stepping in the waters that you were very unfamiliar with.
And it's just like all these black celebrities want to come out, Q, Diddy, all these motherfuckers like, and Charlemagne. I'm so sick of Negroes. You wait until it's time to vote for a motherfucker, and then you say, well, we need to hold our vote. No, we need to be demanding whatever it is that we want from people before it's time to vote. So we need to know that when Joe Biden, Joe Biden's the reason why so many black people are in prison. Well, y'all said the same thing about the Clintons. So which one is it? Is it the Clintons or is it Biden? Because if you look at the 94 crime bill, you look at how many senators voted for it. There are 100 senators. 93 of them voted for the bill. No, not 94 voted for the bill. 4 voted against it, and 2 didn't vote. So now, of that, of the 94 that voted for it, how many you think was? All of them wasn't white.
Right. You got a lot of black people voting for it.
And it's not one man that passed the bill. You know what I'm saying? And everybody, the Clintons, anytime somebody white run, then we want to bring up all this bullshit. And it's like, no. You know what I'm saying? Come with the facts. Like Charlemagne always throwing this bullshit out. It's like, no. And then what's tripped out is that because most black people don't do no research, so every time this half information giving ass Negro give you something, motherfuckers just run with it like, oh, well, because it sounds good. It sounds conscious. It sounds woke. Go read a motherfucking book, man. Learn how the different levels of legislation work, of the government work, and who's responsible for what. And then you can know who you need to be mad at.
Right. And I'm going to tell you one of the biggest things that pissed me off about most Negroes. Most Negroes, you hear somebody say something and you don't vet the information.
Exactly.
You just roll with it. No, we got to be smarter than that. I mean, as a community, we need to be smarter than that. I say it all the time. You say it all the time. Shell say it all the time. Don't take what we say for face value. Go do some research. Look this shit up.
All you gotta do is look it up. It's just like, when people be quoting these QAnon theories to me, I be like, I tune them out. I'm like, okay, so if you just gonna go with conspiracy theories, and QAnon plants shit in the New York Post. I mean, in reputable news places.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing with that. Like, people they want to talk and point the finger and blame and what have you. But the issue is this. I see, this is what I be talking about, the brain fog shit. I just lost my train of thought that quick.
Right.
That's crazy. What was we talking about?
Grandbaby said pick it up. Nah. You talking about QAnon posting shit in reputable sites.
Right. No, but the problem comes in is that people consume this information and they regurgitate it, and then it becomes quasi real, and that's not right. That's how we get to where we get to. That's why we get to, because here's the reality of it. No disrespect to anybody, but when did hip hop artists become political? Like sources of political information. When the fuck did that happen?
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, DL Hughley irritated me.
Like, most of these niggas ain't even been to college.
Exactly. Most of them ain't finished high school.
Right.
But did you hear when DL Hughley came out talking about Q? I'm gonna tell you where he pissed me off at. Because
talk about this. Go ahead.
You gotta be fair on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, well, he's a rapper. Why is a rapper trying to do this? Why is a rapper trying to talk to presidential candidate? But you didn't say anything about Cardi B doing it.
Not only that, he ain't say nothing when Steve Harvey did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Him and Steve
Oh,
Harvey
did
had
he?
a falling out. Yeah.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Steve Harvey had a falling out on it. And Steve Harvey said, well, all I did was meet with him,
Mm-hmm.
which at the time,
But see, here's the problem. See, this is the problem. Malcolm X talked about this, right? When white politicians want to sway the black community, they don't go to actual black activists. They go to entertainers and i.e. singers, comedians, etc.
mm-hmm.
When did this nigga start speaking for me? You know, like when the fuck did Steve Harvey become the voice for the black community? Because he wrote a book about think like a man, whatever the fuck. Nah,
man, act like a son.
nah. You know, so it's like, yo, and again, that's Trump's playbook. All he did is take.
Well, actually, that's all of them playbook. That ain't just Trump. That's all of them.
But he's actually pushing it, because here's the reality of it. I have more respect for activists who actually take like Dick Gregory became more known as an activist than as a comedian. Like people later on in his life had to find out that he was a comedian because he put the comedy on the back burner and was like, this is what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with like the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars, the Jim Browns, the you know, like the brothers from the Muhammad Ali's. I don't have a problem with them because they were actually but you know what else they did? They educated themselves on, number one, you don't have to educate yourself on the struggle when you're living in it. Right. But they also educated themselves on the fight. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a difference between being in the struggle and then being a part of the fight. Because when you're being a part of the fight, you're actually trying to institute change.
And he said, one comedian that can speak for Dave Chappelle. But you know what?
I mean, Dave Chappelle, I mean, him and Chris Rock.
Yeah. And well, if you listen to Chris Rock, his comedy, and see a lot of black people don't really care for Chris Rock comedy because it's political. I think Chris Rock funny as hell.
I think when he found his voice
mm-hmm.
and started linking it to the comedy, that because when I first heard of Chris, when I first saw Chris Rock years ago, I didn't think he was funny. Right. But when that light split for him, I was like, oh, this brother got it. Yeah, now he's on to something.
And with Dave Chappelle, when he took that time off, now I'm gonna tell you the one thing that I respect the shit out of Dave Chappelle with, when they told him that they wanted him to dress in drag,
mm-hmm.
and he gave up all that money because he said that goes against everything he believes in. For other people,
that and the fact that when he said he realized that it's a difference between you laughing with my jokes and at me. Right. Now, when you laughing at my jokes and you laughing at me, he felt like the white people was laughing at him.
Mm-hmm. So when he took that time off, he went to Africa and he went to go find himself. Mm-hmm. He got a lot of what Mariah Carey ex-husband,
Nick Cannon.
When he say, "Oh well, we not gonna vote," you don't speak for me.
He don't speak for me, and I want to know when the fuck did Nick Cannon become this all-knowing? Because I mean, he says a lot of things, but again, Nick Cannon regurgitates a lot of shit that he has heard on the internet. Because very little of anything that Nick Cannon says I have not heard before from somebody else.
But you could, I'm gonna tell you how much of a pussy Nick Cannon is. When him and Professor Griff, when they got together and they was talking about the Jews, when he was talking about the Jews,
mm-hmm.
and the Jews let him know, well, look, we on your show, you don't get shit.
Right.
Then he came back and apologized. So if that's the case, you really wasn't true about what you were saying.
Right.
Because we all know the organization that if you talk about, that could possibly be your career.
Here's the thing. Here's what I don't understand why black people have an issue as a collective. I don't have an issue with the Jewish community.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing, and it don't have nothing to do with the amount of money, the control, or what have you. Because all they did was give you a blueprint. If you don't like being oppressed, then put yourself in a position to never be oppressed again. Like
Exactly.
we came over here as slaves, got free, and was given an illusion of inclusion, and we like we're good. The
Mm-hmm.
Jewish community went through the Holocaust and said this shit will never happen to us again.
Mm-hmm.
And they took the steps to educate themselves, to put themselves in a position of power, to have to where they're the power base.
Right.
And it's like, yo, whatever you want to do, got to come through us. That's okay. So why we don't do the same shit? We was on the track for with Black Wall Street. They
Mm-hmm.
destroyed it. We rebuilt it, and that actually the second destruction is what everybody hears about, because the first destruction, I mean, like they were like, okay, so when they came through and bombed it and all that and did all that, killed all the people. So then black people say, okay, well, look, how can we rebuild this and have them leave us alone? So they allow white people to infuse themselves into what we were doing. So that's that whole white ice is colder than black ice. You know, the water from the white water fountain is colder than the water from the black water fountain. All that bullshit, right? So it's like, nah, we have to look. You can never, you'll never have total independence as long as you're dependent on someone else to define who you are.
Exactly. I was listening to some YouTubers and they was talking about Black Wall Street. So they kept coming up with every excuse in the world. And the YouTuber that was hosting the show, he was like, well, why can't we start Black Wall Street now? And they came up with all these excuses, and he had to tell them, well, look, they was going through more shit then than we
That
are
we
now.
go through now.
So if
Yeah.
they can do it then, why can't we do it
As
now?
a matter of fact, see, Black Wall Street came about on accident, actually, because white people called themselves excluding us
Mm-hmm.
in the hopes that it would degrade us
Yep.
and make us downtrodden. And they were like, because Black Wall Street was like actually like 20 or 30 mile radius,
Yeah.
right? Now it's only like a two city block. But I was like that wasn't Black Wall Street. Like Black Wall Street was
Actually, because they got an expressway going through it now.
yeah, right through parts of where it was, yeah.
Mhm.
So like, and so when the white people were like, yo, them niggas over there thriving, they doing better than us. You know, I mean, within a 20 or 30 mile radius, you had like, I want to say 10 millionaires, 10 black millionaires.
Mhm.
Ridiculous. They like, wait, how them niggas over there doing what?
Yep.
So of
I
course
was listening to
it breeded content. Now you'll never have, but we could do it if 16 families went and bought 100 acres of land in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
What you think they trying to do? 100 acres. 100 acres. They got to have a bank. You got to have a school system. You ain't just putting houses on. I mean, it's gonna be some houses, but it's gonna be a community.
Exactly. And see, here's the one thing we got to do. One, we got to support black businesses. But on top of that, the black businesses got to support their people. And what I mean by that is customer service.
Black people have to stop saying that they want to be owners and they're not even good workers.
Exactly.
Because the reality of it is that if you want to own some shit, you will work harder for yourself than you do for somebody else. So if you don't want to work for nobody else, you definitely don't want to work for yourself.
I posted a jerk chicken place. They just opened up because the first day
I saw that. I was a little too fucked up to respond. I saw that though.
The first day they pissed me off because they said they closed at 2. I got there, it was 10:30. Me, my brother, and niece, we had went to Orleans. So when I came back, I was like, I'm gonna try it out. My brother told me about it. So the open sign was lit. The man in the back, he looking at me. So I'm throwing my hand up, door locked. I'm like, are you all open? Are you closed? What? He just looked at me and walked to the back. I got pissed. Okay. So the next day I went. And I asked the lady, I said, well, what time do you all close? She said Sunday through Thursday, they close at 12. Friday, Saturday closed at 2. I'm like, well, I was here yesterday, which was Saturday night. And I'm like, they were closed at 10:30. But I was asking the guy, and I mean, he didn't even give me a symbol or anything and a sign or something saying, hey, we closed right now. So she asked the people, she was like, what time y'all closed? They said we closed early. And the guy was like, yeah, we closed early. What's up? I said, well, I was here yesterday and I was asking, I'm throwing up symbols or something. Are you all closed? Are you all open? And I'm like, the person just looked at me and walked away. He's like, oh, that was you. Yeah, that was
Oh
me.
wow.
And I got pissed, but I'm gonna give y'all the benefit of the doubt. But I'm big on customer service. I don't give a shit what color you are. I don't give a shit what nationality, what race, what sexual orientation. I'm big on customer service. Because if you give shitty customer service, I might not come back. And because my brother knows, I guess there's a few people that knows the owner, I guess personally or whatever. I was like, I'll give him another chance. Because any other time, I probably wouldn't have never went. I wouldn't have never tried they
Yeah, I know. Ask Best Buy.
And you know what? And here's the thing, because when I tell the Best Buy story, people think that I didn't give Best Buy a chance to rectify it. I've been to places where, okay, the service might have been bad, but somebody came and at least rectified it. So I'm not gonna say, oh well, I went there 20 times and everything was fine, but this one time y'all fucked up, and I'm just never going back. But I mean, us as black people, we harder on our own people than we are on people other races that have shops and stores in our own community. Go to the Arab store and they treat our people like shit, but people still spend their money. You have one bad incident at a black shop, and then you want to condemn them for life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we let the Arabs and the Chinese or whatever they give us real fucked up customer service. We talk big shit, and we right back.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that, and we say it all the time, is that I support black business, but I don't support black bullshit. So just because you black and you have a business, you shouldn't feel like black people should automatically patronize you. If you have a product or a service worth patronizing, your customer service is part of that.
Yeah, and it should be, because there was one lady on Facebook. She was she Facebook live and she was like, I'm about to go to these motherfucking Arabs and they this and they that. They always talking shit. I gotta be a bunch of black bitches.
But you going up in their store though.
I'm like, so why you going there? Oh, it's the only thing around.
I'll travel. I don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
I'll travel. That's what you got a car for.
And if you notice, them people that do that shit go to other communities. They don't have shops there.
Right.
They can't get away with that shit there. But they know with us, we come up with every excuse in the world to go there.
But not only that, but if you listen to, see, this is what pisses me off. If you listen to how Arabs talk, it's like they talking with that black dialect, right? Like, hey, my man, what's happening? Da da da, this, that, and other. Have you heard them talk to white people like that?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Just talk to me, man. You ain't gotta talk to, because we don't all talk like that. Like, can I talk like that? Yeah, I can. But do I talk like that all the time? Not when I'm handling business. And when I come into your establishment, I'm handling business.
Exactly. Oh, this shit all fucked up. Yeah. So now I'm up here looking at this shit. Your ex place of employment, man.
Mm-hmm.
I know what the fuck I did. God damn it. I'm the one that fucked up. Ain't this a bitch?
Shock.
But whatever. I might take my ass up there so I can make sure I get paid right. Nah, what I did was when I clocked out, I wasn't supposed. I should have clocked. I was supposed. I've hit clocked in instead of clocked out. So now my shit up here. I'm wondering why they ain't let me save for my overtime, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, this shit all fucked up. So I'm about to go up there because it's the end of the pay period, and you know my checks. I gotta have my check looking right.
It helps.
Yeah,
It helps.
I ain't no millionaire like the Montgomerys over there and shit.
I ain't there yet, but I'm trying. I swear I'm trying.
Tell me about it. So um it was I can't remember this story, man. This overtime shit got me all fucked.
Who's Osiris? Is that Derek?
No, that's my cousin.
Oh.
His sister-in-law is the one that do the watch party for us.
Oh, okay, all right. I was about to say because he like you fucking up the church's money.
Hey, it is what it is. Whatever, Sam. I called your ass yesterday, Sam, because I worked over yesterday. Mm-hmm. Sam is the busiest non-working motherfucker I know.
That's usually how it works over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually how it works.
But I got to ask one time. I called up. I was like, "Yeah, this is miss something." I was trying to find out about my son Jamar Quavius. She's like, "Do you?"
She should have knew that was you right off the bat.
She's like, "Do you have an ID number?" I made up some damn number. I'm like, damn. So the Jamar Quavius didn't get his shit away. So, but yeah, you know, the first lady of the Truth and Logic. I'm guessing she worked over last night. I meant to call her last night, but unfortunately, she's not here. But anything you want to talk about?
I'm just here. I'm just here. Like I'm just happy. I'm like Sammy Sosa and shit. I'm just happy to be alive right now. Shit, I ain't playing with you.
Oh yeah. I meant to tell you this before. My daycare, the daycare where my kids go to, she was talking. She was pissed because I guess she was trying to get something with her and her brothers together. You know, put their money together to start a business. And she started getting pissed. But I thought about you because I remember when you was talking about if you had a bunch of people in line to buy Jordans and you like, hey, let's go buy some property, the motherfucker be like, no, I gotta have these Jordans. But she was damn sure sounding like you when she was going through a rant. And she was like, you know, people want to buy stupid shit, and when we could try to sit up here and make some money, don't nobody want to get involved.
I mean, because it takes a sacrifice. You're looking at what you can do right now.
Mm-hmm.
Versus what you could do later if you took time, buckled down, and invested, started a business. But I mean, look at your boy Killer Mike. Killer Mike was like he is where he's at today because his woman, basically he had a strong woman behind him, and she was like he had this money, and she was like instead of going to buy like a car and some rims and shit, why don't you invest in the building?
Mm-hmm.
And he turned that building into a barbershop and parlayed that barbershop into some other real estate ventures. And now he's able to buy the cars and shit like that. And it was like, so what are you willing to sacrifice to get to where you eventually want to be? I mean, we talk that self-sufficiency shit. We talk that I want to be my own boss.
Mm-hmm.
But what are you willing to get it done? I mean, you know, like with my grandkids, Schwab offers stock slices. So I opened up an account for each one of them, equivalent to.
Look like you froze. Yeah, I think you froze, bro. All right, y'all. Look like we having technical difficulties. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let my man go on in.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what the fuck that was, but so my grandson had a $300 account. My granddaughter has a $100 account,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm investing in stock slices for them, so that when they turn 18 or graduate college, like here's your, now if their parents want to give me some money for that to put in there to okay, cool, do that. But every year I'm gonna add another $100 in there for
Right.
every so you have an initial investment of say let's just say I hand it over to them when they're 24. So you
Right.
have an initial investment of $2,400, but you also have whatever has grown.
Right.
And it's like, yo, so I mean, that I mean, pay it forward. Be like, yo, okay, you can't say that you weren't given some kind of head start. I'm giving you something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to wait till I die to get it. So here, knock yourself out. You know.
Yeah, and that's the I think that's the problem with a lot of people because you got a lot of people, they say what they want to do for their kids and their grandkids and stuff, but they never get the ball rolling on it. And you wait until okay, well they get the life insurance. I mean the
Mm-hmm.
life is fine, but if you could get them something to where you can see the fruits of your labor, your grandkids or your kids, they able to um strive and from your help or whatever, and you can see okay, well everything I did was damn near right or with good intentions, and they doing well for
I
themselves.
mean, because here's the reality of it. When everything I do for my grandkids, I wanted to do for my kids, right?
Hmm.
But I wasn't in a position to do it for them,
Right.
right? So it's like, let me go ahead and knock this out. And it's not like you can't make it right because you can't get time back. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Because you can't get time back. But it's like I can do X, Y, Z. I can do this now. You know. What up? What up, Candy?
Yeah, and that's true. We do got to invest in the life early on. Like one of the best things that I've ever heard my mother say, and she wasn't saying it to us, she was talking to her sisters. When the cancer started to get strong, she was like, you know what, if I was to go right now, I would she said she would be fine because all her kids have done good for themselves. They wasn't in jail. They all got their own lives. They all, got their own house. Unfortunately, my oldest brother passed when he was 25. But she was like, all my kids are doing well off. So I've done my job. And hey, as parents, as long as you want to have kids that's model citizens. I was talking to a couple young brothers today, and a lot of them damn they got the same story. Wasn't nobody there. They got hooked up to the gang life, drugs and shit like that.
I mean, but how do people get hooked into gang life? Because it's very simple. It's not complex. People get people gravitate toward gangs because they're looking for something to belong to a family type structure, and
Exactly.
the gangs give them an illusion of a family, although it's a dysfunctional ass family. But what kind of families do these brothers come from? Dysfunctional ass family.
Yeah, exactly. Because I learned when I was coaching at Morgan Park. Um, we had a kid there, and I'm like, man, how can I get through to this kid? But you could tell that these kids wanted some type of structure in their life that they wasn't getting.
Hmm.
So me and my boy Payne, we implemented okay, on game day you got to come, you got to have nice slacks on, a shirt, tie, and some casual shoes, no gym shoes. I'm thinking parents would be on board with this. I had a lot of backlash from the parents. I had more backlash from the parents than I did the kids.
I can believe that.
And so I had to explain to the parents. I'm like, well, think about it like this. You want your kid to go to school. When the scouts come, they got to go through all these pants sagging. They got to go through all this stereotypical stuff. But they happen to see your son. So now when they talking to the coaches, hey, that kid right there, do he play football? Yeah, he do. Okay, now this scout, I'm gonna keep my eye on him because I already see he's a well dressed young man. Let's see what he's about on the field, and that could be a gateway to your kid getting a scholarship to go to school.
Yeah, a lot of it is presentation. A lot of people don't, they miss the fact, and you get a lot of cats that be like, yo, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it my way, whatever. That's fine if you have the resources to get in, into the game and get a seat at the table.
Right.
Everybody is not see. You looking at these athletes, they got multi-million-dollar contracts, so they can walk around looking homeless.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You're trying to become a multimillionaire. Like I haven't met anybody that looks like that don't play sports, and that's a million.
Right. But look at it like this. Even before they started looking like that, when they was in high school, trying to get to college, trying to get to the league,
Right. Like
they
look at your boy Ezekiel Elliott. He was clean cut
yeah,
than a motherfucker.
yeah.
But
Allen
look,
Iverson,
now here's a perfect example. Randy Moss.
yep.
When Randy Moss first came to the league, he was clean cut, wore suits. You could tell he didn't know how to wear the suits because they was all, but he was trying, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got that $100 million contract. All bets was off, right?
Look at Allen Iverson.
But yeah, but hold on, but look, cause see, Randy Moss then went back, right? Clean
Mm-hmm.
cut, got the suits tailored, he right on point, right? What happened? Because he realized he's like, you know what? I'm not like this is not all the money I can make. I'm fucking up future money, right? And so he was like, so if you're cool with just making the money for right now to be somebody's athlete, because it's like a master slave type of relationship. So if you're cool with that, okay, cool. But if you're trying to make some money past this, and you're trying to, you know, get into that, you know, 500-600 million dollar stratosphere, hopefully $1 billion stratosphere, and you got to make some changes.
Right. So Candy say it's okay to give him a foundation to build on. I don't understand why most see this as a problem.
What are we talking about? Did I miss something? I know it had to be something that we said.
Well, we was talking about giving the children a foundation to build on. So what you saying that most see giving them the foundation as a problem?
Nah, I think it's something else. I can't see that as being a problem. There's got to be something else that was said after that. You're talking about the money, right?
Okay, yeah. When she come back, I'll back up. So yeah, but yeah, you had a lot of people humble themselves when okay, here she go. We have to do a better job by leading by example. I've done well for myself. However, I want my children to supersede anything and everything I've done.
That
And
you know what? That's old school thinking though, right? Because like I was raised like my mother and my father were always like, I want you to do better than me,
mm-hmm,
right? And I always told my kids, I want you to have more than me. So the thinking is like, let's just in theory say my father leaves me $1 million, then I want to be able to leave my kids too.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Because that's how generational wealth is going. I've had it was a guy that we worked with, and you know him, and he said point blank, period, my kids ain't gonna get rich fucking with me. He said when I die, they gonna have enough money to maybe buy them a car, get them some rims or something like that. Nigga shit. Nigga moment. So you don't want to leave your kids in a position to excel further than where you left off. You want them like they gonna get a car. Like that's nigga. But you know what? Unfortunately, that's thinking, and more people think like that than will admit.
yeah. And see, that's where a lot of shit get fucked up at because I mean, come on now. I guarantee you, if his kids, just say his kids become successful before he die, he gonna be trying to ride on the back of his kids.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he felt like, okay, well, if I
And,
die,
and some of the dopest shit my grandmother ever told me is when like as I got older, and I was like, well, you know, I want to be able to do this for you, this, that, and other, because you did so much for me. And my grandmother was like, you don't owe me and your mother nothing. She was like, we lived our life. It's time for you to live yours. So it's about moving forward.
Right.
Right. It's about moving forward. So, you know, in order to move forward, we have to give them something to move forward with. We can't die and just leave our families in debt.
Right.
Right. Even if you don't do nothing but take yourself out an insurance policy, so that when you die, that they can bury your ass and then move forward with whatever's financially left. $1 million, whatever the fuck it is. Like, you know, my uncle died. My uncle passed away some 15 years ago. When he died, he had $1 million life insurance policy. He had like maybe $300,000 worth of CDs. He owned a business, which my aunt sold for whatever. So you see, that was something to move forward with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and granted, my cousin them grown. She older than me. My cousin grown, but it was something to be able to give my cousin, her kids. They were able to, you know, it's like, okay, my father, my grandfather left the XYZ.
Right.
You know, we don't do that as a culture, and then we wonder why. We have to do better because we started out behind the 8 ball.
Right. I mean, I remember my mother, when she passed, she left each one of her grandkids and her great grandchild $10,000 a piece. Okay. Then she told me and my brother, she said, look, do not put all this money in the ground.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, Candy.
Yeah. I was gonna get to that. She was like, definitely do not put all this money in the ground. She said, you got people, you know, $20,000-$30,000 they throwing into the ground for something that you'll never see again. Because once the casket goes into the ground, you'll never see that casket again.
Look, my old man told me straight up. He was like, and I didn't want to have a conversation. I had to have a conversation with my old man more than once because, you know, he says things in jest a lot of times. My old man was like, don't have no feeling for me. He said, cremate me, and you and your brother and your sister split the money. And he was like, because he's like, for what? He's like, for what? He said, cremate me, sprinkle my ashes over a golf course, and be done with it.
Right. So what Candy said, unfortunately, most black parents cut their children off at 18. As long as the mind doing what they're supposed to do, I will always assist, not cater to, but help them. And that's true.
That's good, and I agree with that. But it comes to a point where assistance has to be kind of like a push. Like when I got out the service, we stayed with my mother for about 6 months. My mother came to me and was like, it's time for y'all to go.
Mm-hmm.
When she saw me getting comfortable, she was like, it's time for you to go.
You know, my cousin, the one that had his the mobile studio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He ended up moving with his mother, and he decided, you know what, I can't do this, and he moved to Houston. So I went to go talk to him. I'm like, man, you got anything lined up? He's like, not right now, but he was like, I noticed when I was on my own, I was hungry, and I pushed. When I got back with when he moved in with his mother, he got complacent.
See, here's the thing: when you have that safety net, then you always have that. Well, I'm waiting to get to a certain level. Nah, get your ass out there. Like birds learn how to fly when their parents push their ass out the nest.
Yeah. Like when Erica moved out on her own, there's a lot of, because like when she was here, she buying $100 gym shoes every other week. So then she asked me for something. I was like, oh, you know what? See them shoes right there? You could have got it yourself. But now she on her own. Now she asked me to get her a TV. Well, first she asked for one of my TVs. I wasn't gonna have. But okay, you want to get a TV? All my TVs mounted. I wasn't about to take them down to remount another. So I told her I would help her get a TV. I said, here's what we do. I go half on it with you. So then I thought about it. You know what? I'll get you one for Christmas. She was like, well, don't worry, Dad. I already got one. Okay. You know, as long as you showing that you trying and you striving to do something, I don't mind helping you. But you're not about to keep buying $100 gym shoes every other week.
Oh, they can't get the PS5 with the mattress on the floor.
Exactly. Exactly. Because man, I ain't gonna lie. That was one of the things that I hated the most.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to a female's house and they got a damn mattress on the floor
Mm-hmm.
and a crate with a TV on it.
I mean, you know, and I get you, Candy. I definitely, you're right. They do prefer GoFundMe to insurance policies nowadays, but I definitely get you as far as you know, being assisting and not enabling. And look, here's the reality: as parents, that's what we here for, right? You know, kids having a hard time because that's part of growing up. That's part of being a young adult. You know what? I fucked that up. You know what? I'm a little short over here. This, that, and other, blah, 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 blah. And if we can help you, we do.
Right.
So I'm never saying just push them out and be like, I'm done with you. But the key is you gotta get your ass out there. That's the key is you gotta get your ass out there.
And you know what?
Because if you're waiting for the perfect storm, you'll never leave because there's no such thing as a perfect storm.
And I think another thing that kids need to learn is how to try to overcome some of your problems too.
Right.
Because you can't.
Because you don't figure shit out until you have to figure shit out.
Right. And like I asked Erica a simple question. I said, look, this before she moved out. I said, if me and your mother was to die right now, do you think you can make it on your own? And she was like, no. I said, look, we here to help you. But some of this stuff you need to figure out on your own.
Look, I had to tell one of my frat brothers. He's a younger brother. And his father does everything for him. And you know his father does everything for him. And so he kind of has this air about himself, like, you know, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that, and that. So I had to knock his ass down to earth. I said, name me one thing you've done independent of your father in 28 years. Always. Conversation got real quiet. See, that's what I don't want from my kids. I don't want my kids to look back over their life and be like, damn, everything I got came from my daddy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because at that point, you know, then when you don't have that person to lean on, because trying to figure it out when that safety net is not there makes life a lot harder.
But here's the thing: you figure shit out. I believe that sometimes you need some sleepless nights trying to figure some shit out. Yeah. There have been, when I was younger, like I tell my kids all the time, I don't know shit because I'm the smartest person in the world. I know shit because I've been through a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking to you based off experience. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I've had nights when I couldn't sleep, sitting up there trying to figure out a solution to a problem. Or like, man, we got to get this done. We got to get that done. How we gonna make it happen? I don't get paid to then. I don't get paid to boom. And this is due now. Blah blah blah. But that's how I learned how to budget. Mm-hmm. I learned how to budget being on my own because it was like, yo, I have a degree in finance, but that don't mean that I was good at budgeting.
Right. I had somebody ask me a couple months ago. They're like, "You always seem like you got money."
Shit.
I don't have a lot of money, but I don't buy a lot of stupid shit.
When I do buy stupid shit, I weigh the consequence. I'm like, okay, if I get this, if you remember that old cartoon, be like, if I do this, I get a whipping.
I do it. And then like I told him, I was like, look, okay, like when the PS5, when they announced that was coming out, I'll put money to the side. So when it do come out, I could just buy it.
Right. And now I can't buy it because these motherfuckers is like, oh, you know, I told you last time that we was motherfucker gonna tell me, well, you know, we all out of pre-orders. How you out of pre-orders? Ain't that what a pre-order is? I pre-order it, so you know, but okay, fine, whatever. So he was like, you know, if you want to camp out the night
Shit.
I'm 49 years old. Fuck, I look like camping out for a game. I wait. If I have to wait till January, February, guess when I get my PS5?
January, February.
You know what I'm
saying? Yesterday.
And they're having problems with the early releases. So I'm like, okay, y'all knock that shit on that.
Pretty Ricky said his shit crashed. He got the Xbox. He said his shit crashed.
Yeah.
I was to the nurse yesterday, right? And I was like, she got to be one of the dumbest motherfuckers in captivity. Because she was like, she's willing to pay $800 for a PS5 for a son.
You willing to pay $800 for a $500 machine?
It depends on which one she get, because she might get the $400 machine.
That's crazy.
I said, well, why? She was like, well, I can't not get my son this for his birthday. I'm like, what's his birthday? She's like, December 12th. So you willing to pay double or damn near double for a machine just for his birthday?
That might crash a week after you get it.
And I've been told her that it's been crashing. She was like, well, that's the consequences. You know, he really wants it. Hey, I remember when the PS4 came out, it was a lady, we was in line. She said her son was like 9 or 10 years old. She buying him not only the PS4, but the Xbox One. And she was like, yeah, I'm getting all this shit for this motherfucker. He better, he don't even know how to tie his shoes. He could barely write his name. And I'm listening. And then her girl was like, how old is he again? She's like, yeah, that motherfucker like 9 or 10 or whatever old, she said.
You can't tie a shoe at 9 or 10.
And I'm like, so why are you buying this shit for him? Okay, whatever. That's your money. Because ain't no way in hell I'm about to reward you when you ain't even doing what you're supposed to do.
I'm stuck at the nigga that can't tie a shoe at 9, 10 years old. I've been tying my shoes since I was about 5.
Exactly. You know, because she said she had to, for school, she had to get him them slip-on shoes because he don't know how to do it. Are you serious?
This is
and I'm the cool thing because they was right behind me, and I'm like, man, this shit. Okay, whatever. I guarantee I'd be willing to bet the little boy barely know how to tie shoes now. Because evidently the mama ain't teaching him shit. And that was what, 6 years ago? So the mama ain't teaching him shit, but you willing to go buy, like I said, she was buying them both systems. So we talking about damn near what, $900 to $1,000 that you spending on them. You complaining that
more than that, because I'm pretty sure she bought an extra controller for both, and she bought at least one game for both. So she spent about close to $1,500. Probably.
And I remember my mother used to complain when the Nintendo, that was $100.
Yo,
and I had to do it.
Still to this day, probably one of the best machines out there, boy. Super Tecmo Bowl, you couldn't tell me nothing with Bo Jackson.
Man, hey, but I bet you if I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, I wasn't getting that $100 system.
Man, let me tell you, you know when I got my first video game system?
When
I went to the service.
Yeah.
My mama wasn't going. She wasn't buying me shit. She was like, my mother was like, yo, you hit them books. You worry about all this video game stuff later. If I wanted to play a video game, I had to go to one of my boys' crib. That's why I spent the whole first in my early 20s. I spent all that like just kind of like getting that all out of my system. When I was first married, I had a Sega Genesis. I had a Nintendo. When the Nintendo 64 came out, I had that. Then when the PlayStation, I've had every video game system. The Dreamcast, I had one of them joints.
Man,
every video game system you can think of has been in my house.
I remember when the Dreamcast came out. They came out. I forgot what football game. Me and my brother called ourselves playing that shit online. Man, that was the most torturous experience ever. Yeah. This was the whole online thing just started, and we trying to play this game. I swear, one game damn near took 4 hours and we didn't even finish.
Because they kept freezing all that.
Yeah, we like, man, this shit is horrible. So when the PlayStation, when they started doing online stuff, we like, man, I don't know about this. Then I'm in Virginia, so it used to be me, Derek.
Well, you know that the football game that from Dreamcast, that was the 2K, like the
it was 2K.
That was the 2K people, but Madden killed them. they couldn't do nothing with the football, right? So so they just stuck with basketball and took the basketball to PlayStation and Xbox, and they was like, "We're gonna leave football." And Madden actually bought them.
Well,
Madden,
you know what?
Madden has a monopoly because remember, not only did they have the 2K joint, but they had the CBS football joint.
Yeah, and they had
Phil Sims was the commentator on that shit.
But you know how all that came into play when Dreamcast. I mean, when 2K they did the 2K for 1999, and the NFL got pissed. They was like, "Oh, so y'all treating us like a second rate system." So they was like, "Okay, well, we're gonna do this then. We're gonna give exclusive rights to one company," and man jumped on
Okay, yeah, definitely. Madden got a monopoly on that shit. It was like, yo, you ain't gonna get no other football game.
it.
Madden was like, we gonna make this better because we want to, not because we have to.
Right.
You know.
So, but shit, I ain't got nothing else. I'm gonna reach out to Michelle. Maybe we could get her in next week.
Okay.
But I don't have anything else unless you do. We can
No.
go.
Yo, we hit y'all with the hour with a drive through this week.
And you know, hey, for everybody, you know, that wasn't here earlier, you know, my boy D, you know, COVID touched him. You know, make sure y'all keep him in his prayers. That he recovered fully. You know, and you know,
I got all dressed up for y'all. But I'm feeling like shit.
You know, and I really didn't want to keep him long anyway because I seen how I did other people, and I do know at times you could get shortness of breath, and you know, when you care about somebody, you know, you got to care about their health too. So until then, you know,
yeah, we would just tell the family, y'all have a good, safe holiday season. I know I can't spend Thanksgiving with my mama this year. It sucks, but it just means we're gonna have a better Thanksgiving next year. But you all be safe. Remember, COVID shit is real. Continue to social distance, wear your mask, and if you're out there and doing whatever you're doing, don't drink and drive. Have that Uber, that Lyft on standby, and God willing, we'll see y'all next week.
all right, you know, I'm not even gonna do the outro today. You know, man, just be safe out there and happy holidays to everybody out there.
We out of here.
We out of here.